Hi, everybody, and welcome back to EBNet Stream. I'm joined today by Rita Cool, who's the head of individual consulting strategy at Alexforbes. She's becoming a familiar face on EBNet Stream. And today we're specifically going to talk about a phenomenon called the Great Wealth Transfer. And I'm not gonna take any of her words out of her mouth this morning. Rather, I'm going to let her explain this to us and share the shifting demographic that is happening within the wealth and the financial planning space. Welcome to EBNet Stream, Rita.
Thank you very much. Yes, it is going to be very interesting times ahead of us because the whole financial industry is actually going to be changing over the next 15 years as money is flowing into the hands of women worldwide. And it's due to several things happening, the biggest of that probably being inheritance from the baby boomer generation and women inheriting from their husbands. And yeah, I think we have a task ahead of us as a financial industry to see how we're going to deal with that transfer of wealth.
It's such an interesting phenomenon. I saw the words the other day. I went and looked it up and kind of did some research. I mean, how much money are we talking here?
We're talking trillions, not billions, trillions of dollars. So multiply that by a few factors. They think that in America, where the research is more readily available, that we're looking at about $34 trillion in the next 5 years that go into the hands of women. So that's quite a lot of money into women's hands.
Mm-hmm. And is that expected to be duplicated in South Africa?
Not quite to that extent. We're not earning
Sure.
in dollars, unfortunately. But yes, definitely, it is changing. The South African market, I think, is a little bit different in the sense that women have come to the fore much sooner, I think, than internationally, meaning that we are sitting with a lot of female-run households, single mothers. It's not like it changes in South Africa due to the demographics as well as the age. So you could have younger women already used to being in the industries working for decades already, whereas sometimes that's only happening a little bit later now internationally.
And based on your experience as a financial advisor, would you say that, and let's keep it local to South Africa, would you say that the average South African woman is ready to take on this financial role and these decisions that need to be made?
No, unfortunately not. Um, Look, we can't talk about everybody, but the generation specifically that stands to benefit the first, the baby boomers, the women who are living longer than their husbands, they are definitely not ready because they didn't grow up to look after their finances. It was the husband's job. It was finance is difficult, math is it's difficult. So you were never involved in your finances, and now you are going to be expected to take charge of a lot of money. And the confidence, I think, for a lot of women is just not there yet. And that has to be built, and that has to be dealt with by involving women, getting them trained better, more education sessions, peer help, people who have been through it already, helping their friends, but definitely not everybody is ready for this.
Mm-hmm. You already touched on some of the challenges, and I just want to unpack that a little bit more. A baby boomer who would be inheriting this kind of wealth, what ages are we looking at there? How old would they be?
They would be 60s and 70s because
60s and 70s.
the people who were the baby boomers were born after the Second World War.
So hubby's unfortunately passing away, and that's also got something to do with the extended life expectancy of females, and mom or granny is now inheriting wealth, and unfortunately has never, I suppose, got experience in these kind of
Mm-hmm.
things. So
Absolutely.
what is the role of the financial advisor in this kind of scenario?
So it is, I think financial advisors need to be aware that this is going to happen, first of all, and they have to realize that women are not automatically the same as men. So I've spoken in the past about you don't necessarily need that much of a difference in your investment strategy, because you need to invest for growth. When you need to invest for growth, it doesn't matter if you're male or female. But we need, as financial advisors, we need to go beyond just the right portfolio and the right investment. We need to be aware that women have emotional requirements. Women would most likely give money for charity and to empower other people and not just themselves. They tend to give away a lot of money where people actually need it before they look after their own needs. Women's emotional state at the time that this transfer happens also needs to be taken into account. You don't want your client to make an emotional decision just after a divorce or just after losing a spouse. It is definitely not the right time to make that decision. Give them time to make that decision. Do not force them into something. Things like that. You have to understand that if you want to deal with women, it might not be the best solution to treat them, to take them out to a sporting event, but you might want to find a different event that you want to take them to, a concert or something different. So you cannot have one solution for men and women in your client base.
100%. I was at the recent FPI's annual refresher, and one of the topics that were covered, and it was in the context of artificial intelligence in the financial planning industry and sector, and it was around how remaining human is still very, very important. And I guess when you're dealing with these ladies who have never, they've never been exposed to either this type of wealth or this type of responsibility, it must be overwhelming for them. And to have to deal with those decisions must be a bit scary. So great points around, maybe take them for a facial. But I want to also focus this conversation, or expand this conversation is a better way of saying it. Expand this conversation to women who are not necessarily baby boomers, but are coming up through the ages. I nearly said, but are younger than baby boomers, but are still experiencing this kind of not being exposed to these issues. I mean, are we seeing that in the younger generations of women as well?
Yes, unfortunately, it is still coming through. I think it is something that is eventually going to fall away, because if you see the way that young girls are coming through education, and that more girls are getting educated and doing their 4-year degree than, for example, boys are, eventually it is going to disappear. Women are entering the workforce more. They're getting better educated. They have more female-run companies, but it is still something that is not just limited to baby boomers, the Gen Xers and the millennials. The women, depending on how they were raised, could potentially also have these issues, and what the gender roles have been in certain families and certain cultures are different. So it's not that it's going to be a flat problem all over for the different ages and different cultures, and it is something that could be more or less problematic in certain sectors.
Mm. And how would you recommend, in your experience, how would you recommend a financial planning practice start setting themselves up for this kind of great wealth transfer, and to deal with some of these challenges?
Like I said, you have to understand where women are coming from and what their requirements are. If they do need to have different investment strategies, because women live longer, they might need to be more aggressively invested. But stepping past that topic, I think representation is very, very important. And female clients might want to speak to female advisors, and especially in South Africa, and it is worldwide as well. But in South Africa, we are sitting with very few female financial advisors, and it is definitely important to have more representation of female and also different demographic to help your clients, so that they can sit with somebody who they feel emotionally involved with, and they can understand each other. And I'm always surprised to hear that we are struggling to find female financial advisors in South Africa, because I think it's one of the best jobs available for a woman. You have flexibility. You can sit next to the sport field to look after your kids, and you can still go see your clients. It's such a great job. So I don't know why we don't see more female financial advisors, but it is definitely something I would recommend that practices look at to solve this thing that is going to happen in the next 15 years.
Thank you for your time, Rita. A great subject to discuss, and I look forward to many more interesting and meaningful conversations with you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Natalie. All the best.